7.3 is I can graph a trigonometric function, which is sine, cosine, and tangent. So pretty easy. Sine starts at 0, 0, so you go to 0, 0, and you have to go up an amplitude, so that's A, then back through 0, 0, or 0, and then you go down to that A, and then back to 0. And it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats, on and on and on. And then this value from here till here will change if your period changes. And then once you graph it, you can move it left or right, depending on your phase shift, and then up and down, depending on your vertical shift. For cosine, it's pretty much the same thing, but you start up at the 1. So instead of going up, then down and back up, you go just down and back up. So it repeats till here. That's your period. And then this is still your A, and it has to go below 0 also. So on cosine and sine, see that center line? Right now it's at the axis. If there's a vertical shift, it might move. And then tangent's the weird one. So we've got these things, asymptotes, okay, which we're going to cover next time. So don't worry about how to graph those yet. Just know that tangent starts at 0, 0, and you're always going to go to 1 and -1 unless the amplitude changes, okay? And then the period is this distance between the asymptotes or between the 0, 0s, okay? Okay, let's try a practice problem. We're just going to do number 4 from the first day's homework. So taking those values we already found and then graphing them. So let me show you again. We had this equation. So our amplitude is 3. Our period was 2 pi over 3. Our phase shift, we didn't have any. And our vertical shift was down 1. So to graph this, we're going to make the coordinate grid. It's going to be really wide. And we're going to take our vertical shift, so down 1, and we started with sine. And sine starts at 0, 0. So we're going to take 0, 0 and go down 1. That's our starting point. And then we're going to do that dashed line there. And then if there was a phase shift left and right, we'd also move it now, but we don't have that. And then the amplitude, we're going to count up 3, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So we go up till 2 and down to -4, and that's the highest and low points. Won't get any higher or lower than that. And then our period, let's do that in a different color. So our period, from this starting point, we're going to make another point at 2 pi over 3. And then for sine, you want one halfway on the 0, 0. So half of 2 pi over 3 is 1 pi over 3. And then halfway between them, you should have a point up at the highest and at the lowest to connect. Beautiful. And then we are going to mark these. So this is pi, half of 3 is, or half of a third is a sixth. And then 3 pi over 6, and you can reduce that. And it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats the exact same. So I'm just going to keep adding, oops. We're just going to keep adding a third. And then it also goes backwards. Try and make this to scale, so make it nice and pretty. But all these points on the center line are a third less. Make these negative. Okay, that's pretty much it. Next time we are going to talk about domain and range, so make sure you watch that video after this. And then tangent, we're going to wait to do that until we talk about day 4.